Hey guys, and welcome back to Battlefront Updates and some pretty exciting Battlefront 2 news actually, because we've got some more data mining to talk about, something we haven't had for a couple of updates now, but with the new update today, some juicy details came out surrounding both Grievous and Obi Wan that some of the modders and data miners have been able to dig out and show us, which I think is pretty cool. So keep in mind that this is not a leak, but it is from the files that are actually in the game right now. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's final. A lot of it could change and so on, but nevertheless, it's definitely relevant to discuss and show. So most of this comes from Galaxy Man 2015 and Mophead, who has extracted this and uploaded it to YouTube. Galaxy Man 2015 is one of the few who was able to import actual models into Battlefront 2 through modding, as far as I understand, so he's very talented regarding that. But nevertheless, I will leave a link to Mophead's channel with the original video in there as well if you guys are interested in checking that out. But if we start off with Kenobi, we don't have too much about him here, but Kenobi's run animation, Galaxy Man 2015 actually managed to extract and apply to race model, as you can see right here. And if you've played the original Battlefront 2 game from 2005, you will recognize that this running animation is actually pretty similar to the way that he ran around in that game, so that is really cool. I mean, again, this could be a work in progress, this could be a temporary thing they used, but I think it would be pretty neat if they go back to how he ran around in that game. But if we then move over to Grievous Animations, we've got something really interesting for you. You might remember back a couple of months ago that someone was able to add Grievous Animations onto Vader, and it was quite scary, to say the least. But they've now done that again, but with the updated version, and you will see how it looks before and after, before being, well, previous updates, simply put. As right now his lightsaber slices are a little bit different and actually more unique to Grievous, but it's obviously really hard to see how this would actually look with Grievous and if it will look good or not, because all you can really see is kind of Vader being completely messed up and flinging around the lightsaber all over the place. But there are two different animations for when you're jumping or for when you're slashing on the ground, but it does at least look more Grievous-like than the previous version, which is obviously the most important thing. But to me, the most interesting part that comes out of this data mine is his death animation. Because if you look right here at Darth Vader when he dies, you will see that he does the same animation as Grievous does in Revenge of the Sith when he dies. There's no audio here to the actual animation, but you know, the whole screaming and kind of shaking and then exploding animation that he does in Revenge of the Sith. So it seems like that's gonna be his death animation in the game, which I think is pretty darn neat. I'm not entirely sure if that's gonna be, you know, the whole part of his kind of his eyes and insides blowing up and then and being on fire, or if it's just gonna be that he kind of shakes around like that, screams a little bit and then goes down to the ground, because I don't think he should always explode. I mean, if you don't shoot him in his chest or similarly, why would he explode? Like if you hit him with a lightsaber on the arm, or if you, I don't know, melee him, it doesn't really make sense that he would explode like that. So they could be different death animations, or that they just have made a less explosive animation that looks a little bit like this, which I would be perfectly happy with. And I think it's really cool that that's the one animation out of these that you can really directly see the link to Grievous in, which is pretty neat. If you move on in the files, it also seems like Galaxy Man has managed to find the 4 emotes that Grievous will have. First of all, we have Bold One, which most likely is this.
You are a bold one.
And then we have Crush Them, which I'm guessing is gonna be this one.
Crush them. Make them suffer.
And then Slime, which is probably this one.
I will deal with this Jedi slime myself.
And lastly, we have Scream, and that one is probably the one that Dennis hinted out on Twitter, which is your screams are like music to my audio receptors, which comes from the original Battlefront 2 game and not actually from the movie. So at least that's my guess for what the 4 emotes for General Grievous will be, and again, these doesn't necessarily have to be final, and they could be changed, but I think that's a pretty good selection of emotes that are iconic and recognizable. And then all of these normal lines when it's interacting with other heroes and such could be more new lines and things that are not as common, so to say, and that's where they can go a bit crazy and have obviously specific conversations with specific other heroes and similarly. They did also find all of this that links to Obi Wan, but as you can see, it seems like they've used a lot of race stuff on Obi Wan as kind of like a template. because you can see the emotes, for instance, says Obi Wan, handle myself, lucky, afraid, and monster. So that's obviously Rey's emotes, but that are now put on Obi Wan. And I guess they have a fairly similar movement, and similarly, so I guess it makes sense to kind of have her as a template and then change the emotes, change everything to obviously be like Obi Wan and not Rey. But yeah, those are all the things that were found in this data mine. And if there are any more stuff coming up in the next few hours or days, I will make sure to cover that as well, because it's only been out for a couple of hours now, so I'm sure the data miners have a lot more to dig through and possibly show us. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like and some feedback below. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, may the Force be with you.